This is the Denis Wick adjustable cup mute, and today I'm going to show you how to use it and maybe some ways that you didn't even think about using it. So first, it's called an adjustable cup mute because you can adjust the cup. So you can do that and bring the cup closer to the trumpet bell, or you can push it this way, and then you're going to have a gap between the trumpet and the cup mute. Now it does actually come all the way off. We're going to talk about that part later though. First, let's talk about how this mute adjusts and how it changes your tone. Let me grab my trumpet for that. Now here I have the mute all the way open, right? So all the way open means that the cup part is all the way to the end of the mute. So when that happens, you're going to have a sound that's very bright. It's going to project a little bit better, and things are going to generally sound more open. To contrast that, you can also bring the cup closer to the bell where it's almost all the way close, and that's going to give you a very quiet, more nasally, more real cup-like tone, almost like a bucket mute is what it sounds like to me. And of course, there's the whole spectrum in between. So if you put it sort of halfway there, you are going to have a variety of tonalities, a variety of timbres to play with. So let me show you some examples of that. Let's have it all the way open, and you're going to notice that there's more reverb. It sounds a little bit brighter. Like I said, it's just louder. So that's your classic cup mute sound. Now we're going to bring it almost all the way closed. It is vastly different. So like I said, when it's really, really close to the bell and it's just open, it sounds like a bucket mute to me. Now, let's put it somewhere in between so you can see what that sounds like. Let's open that up right away. Did you notice the difference? I wanted to do it right away so you could really tell. But when it's all the way open, it's a bit more nasally, right? And it really, really gets a lot louder. So that is the general use of the Denis Wick adjustable cup mute. But there's so much more. I think this mute should really be called the 6-in-1 mute because I think you can use it in that many different ways. So we have fully open, right? Basically closed, somewhere in the middle. There's everything in between too, but I count that as 3 different mutes because they sound that different. Now, let's separate the 2 pieces and see what we can do with that. Gives us this piece and this piece. Let's start with just this one right here. This mimics a quieter version of a straight mute. So straight mute is your most practical, most sought after trumpet mute. It's usually very loud and very nasally and a little bit edgy. This is a quieter version of that. I would say that this is a lot closer to the Denis Wick pianissimo mute, which is just a quieter straight mute. So let's try this one. That is so, so nice. This one is a lot silkier. When you take the cup out, things get smoother. So here's another kind of mute. This can be a backup straight mute. I mean, if you don't have the room to take a cup mute and a straight mute, you can just take the one and this can be a backup. So this is a 4th mute, right? We have the fully open, the almost closed, the halfway through. Now this is basically a soft straight mute. And now we have this. And you might be wondering, what the heck are you gonna do with that? Well, there's a couple things that you can do with it. One is you can sort of use it as a wah-wah mute. I don't really use it that way because my hands are a little small. So if I try to cover it, it doesn't cover too much. It sort of works as a wah-wah, but not quite. It doesn't really work that well as a wah-wah mute for me, but if you are able to cover that with your hands, then great. Now, one thing you can do is just hold it on your bell like this and it sort of gives the bell an extension. It's almost like a flugelhorn with a bucket mute. So hey, there's another timbre, another color that you can use for your recordings or in the band as a soloist, what have you. Now I'm going to show you how to put these back together in an unconventional way. This is how I actually use this as a wah-wah mute. So you can take the straight part and put it upside down into the cup, pull it all the way through. Boom, there's your wah-wah mute. And this one I can use because I can just grab this right here and it's a lot easier to manage. Oh, it works so well with that. So there you go. This is mute number 5. And now I'll show you the last version of this. Now you might have heard of practice mutes. Practice mutes greatly diminish the volume that comes out of the bell, so you can practice late at night or in a hotel room or whatnot. You can actually use this as a practice mute too. And I like to use it that way because there's a lot of good practice mutes out there. But the one thing is that in order to make a practice mute work, it has to put more pressure, bag pressure in. I mean, finding a free-blowing practice mute, there's some that are more free-blowing than others, but you're never going to find a practice mute that is like, that feels almost open, right? Now with this, you can get an almost open feel. It's not going to be as quiet as a regular practice mute, but it gets pretty close. So what you're going to do is you're going to go all the way to the bell so that it's completely shut. There's no room in there. That got really, really quiet. The decibels are way down and it feels so open. The intonation is great, which is one of the hard things to find in a good practice mute. This mute is just fantastic for a variety of reasons. One of them is that it's not that expensive. It's like a $50 mute, but you don't get just a cup mute. You get a cup mute with many colors, great intonation. You get a straight mute, you get a wah-wah mute, how I showed you today. You get a practice mute. So if you're on a budget, this is a great first mute to have. I would recommend that if you don't have any mutes yet and you're looking to see what you should buy first, I would go with this one because you are going to get several out of just the one. And probably the main reason why I love this mute so much is because as a musician, as someone who does recordings and things like that, you never know the timbre, the color, the character that you're going to need in your recording. And with something like this, I get the versatility. I get the option to explore every single color I want and every single one in between. So if you want to grab this mute, follow the link that I'm going to provide in the description of this video. And if you have any questions, let me know.